Hello fellow astrologers, and welcome back to our new astrological keyring series, the C plus D Basic Birth Chart series. This is the fifth and final video in our Taylor Swift birth chart breakdown, where we're going to go over her points of interest: the Aquarius North Node, the Gemini Part of Fortune, Cancer Chiron, and Virgo Midheaven. In our last video, CD1GP, we went over her generational planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. In this video, we'll go over our little breakdown about each one of these points of interest, talk a little bit about it here on the chart, and then go over to Google, see what Google has to say, and then also look at one of the actual web pages over there and see how it all matches up. And then we'll come back and do a little sum up. So let's start out with the Aquarius North Node. The nodes, here we are, Aquarius North Node is right here. It's 19-degree Aquarius North Node, and it's always connected because the nodes are always directly opposite on the exact same degree. It's opposed Leo. Now, the North Node is a lot to do with your path of destiny. It always starts from one area and goes towards the other. It's where you came from in perhaps a past life or earlier life, and where you're moving towards in the future to achieve your path of destiny. So let's read a little bit about Aquarius North Node. The soul's growth path leads towards independence, innovation, and a humanitarian ideas. Detachment from drama and ego allows this person to embrace collective progress. Life's purpose involves contributing unique ideas to society and cultivating authentic individuality in the service of the greater good. The nodes talk a lot about one's personal journey. In this case, how the soul is moving away from seeking personal recognition, drama, and validation of Leo, and moving towards developing objectivity, teamwork, and visionary service like Aquarius. It has a lot to do with detaching emotionality from personal approval, connecting intellectually and socially to larger causes, innovating systems or collective benefits, and embodying individuality within community and not being above it. It has a lot to do with becoming an innovator of ideas, championing equality and collective growth, detaching from ego and the drama, finding freedom through authenticity, and being a bridge between individuality and community. When fully lived out, a person with Aquarius North Node becomes a visionary leader who leads by example, not just in the spotlight. An innovator who reshapes systems for fairness and progress. A connector who weaves people and ideas into collective movements. A teacher of individuality within unity. The challenges of the South Node, Leo, that pulls you is the craving for validation, applause, or an admiration, taking things too personally or over-identifying with one's public image, fear of anonymity or being just part of the crowd, and resistance to letting others share the spotlight. Growth occurs by realizing that your uniqueness shines brightest when it helps others find theirs. In Taylor Swift's case, the core tension comes between being a performer versus being a visionary. The Leo South Node has the I need to shine and be seen to be adored, where the Aquarius North Node is I need to contribute, connect, and create something larger than myself. Her life path is a tug of war between the spotlight and purpose and self-expression and social connection. In her earlier Leo South Node phase, she was the star who needed to be loved. From her debut, Taylor lived almost entirely from her Leo South Node, writing confessional songs, seeking recognition, love, and validation, crafting a good girl sweetheart image that revolved around audience approval, a deep identification with fame, romance, and personal story. But that's not bad. The South Node is where we start out strong. She mastered Leo's gifts of charisma, confidence, and creative self-expression, but eventually the world's adoration became her cage. When public opinion turned on her during the Kanye backlash, she experienced the Leo shadow, the pain of losing love when the spotlight burns too bright. But that was a catalyst that forced her towards the Aquarius North Node, from being an idol to being a collective connector. After that, she began operating more like an Aquarius reformer than a Leo performer. She took fan engagement as community building. She transformed fandom into a participatory movement as she shared cultural ritual rather than one-way performance. She did a lot for advocacy for equality with public support for LGBTQ rights, voter registration with the Vote with Taylor, and women's empowerment using influence for social progress rather than ego validation. Taylor Swift's Aquarius North Node manifests through her evolution from performer seeking love to visionary building connection, from queen of the stage to architect of a movement. But now let's go over here and see what Google has to say about Aquarius North Node. An Aquarius North Node signifies a sole purpose focused on embracing individuality, community, innovation, and humanitarianism in this lifetime. Individuals with this placement are growing out of past patterns of self-focus and emotionalism, often symbolized by the Leo South Node, to develop a more detached, progressive, and community-oriented outlook. This path requires learning to connect with the collective, embracing future thinking, and expressing unique talents in a way that benefits a wider group. I think that embodies a lot of what we were talking about. How to go from just the self to trying to do something bigger and better as a collective for more people and not just herself. Google does go on to talk a little bit more about that in depth, and you can do the deeper dive. But now let's take a moment to look at what one of the other web pages have to say about Aquarius North Node. Okay, let's scroll down here and see what we have. By Sparks, Girl in Her Moon. You know what? Let's go up here and look at A Girl in Her Moon. North Node in Aquarius birth chart. The North Node represents our soul's mission and path of growth and evolution. See what else it says. Oh, it kicks off with the Leo South Node. With the South Node Leo, there's a natural familiarity with self-expression, creativity, and shining brightly as an individual. You may feel at home being recognized, celebrated, and standing at the center of attention. These are gifts and abilities to inspire others to carry warmth and to bring joy through your own presence. It goes on to say that having too much comfort in the Leo South Node can lead to seeking validation and overemphasis on yourself. And that your journey from Leo South Node to the North Node isn't about abandoning yourself for the collective. It's more about recognizing your individuality and your creativity and your ability to shine are treated as a strength. Let's scroll down here. The soul's purpose is to expand from me to we, and how it thrives with sharing in the service of a collective vision. And it's not about dimming your Leo gifts, but expanding them to help out your Aquarian expression. Well, this is a really cool page. It's actually definitely worth a deeper dive, but there's so much I don't want to get too involved because we have a bunch of other things to talk about. So let me scroll back here. There's definitely Girl in Her Moon's got a good one to come back to, but let's go back. That's a good little touch on it. But let's not get too caught up in just the first one. Let's move on to the Gemini Part of Fortune. Now, the Part of Fortune represents ease, contentment, and prosperity, both spiritual and material. It's a blend of the sun's conscious self, the moon's instinct, and the ascendant's expression into a single focal point. When you live in alignment with this energy, life feels effortless and alive. So let's read about Gemini Part of Fortune. Happiness arrives through curiosity, communication, and adaptability. Success comes from connecting ideas and people. The more this individual learns, speaks, and shares knowledge, the more doors open. Luck thrives in versatility and social engagement. Some of the core qualities of Gemini Part of Fortune is joy through curiosity. When you follow your curiosity rather than a rigid plan, doors will open. Fortune follows conversation, not isolation. The more you learn, teach, write, speak, or share, the more abundance will flow. There's a lot of happiness through communication. You attract luck when you express yourself openly. Words, language, and stories are your currency. Your intuition sharpens when you articulate what you're learning. When you let yourself evolve, try new things, and pivot quickly, life will reward you. Routines can feel stifling, but dynamic change renews your sense of fortune. In Taylor Swift's case, her Gemini Part of Fortune would beautifully mirror her natural communication gifts. She finds joy in wordplay, lyrics, storytelling, and connecting through conversations. Her fortune literally flows through the mercurial arts, language, wit, communication, and adaptability. Reinvention keeps her successful. She changes her voice, her style, and story while staying relatable. Her happiness is sustained not by control, but by keeping her message alive and conversational. Even before she was a pop icon, Taylor's fame started with songwriting, handwritten lyrics, journals, and wordcraft. Her Part of Fortune shows that her true gift and happiness comes not from the stage light, but from the written and spoken word itself. Gemini's mutability means fortune comes through change and variety. Every time she reinvents herself, fortune follows. From country to pop, indie folk, synthwave, and even her reclamation project. Multiple eras and stylistic shifts keep her story alive. When she gets bored, she evolves, and the universe rewards her curiosity. Taylor Swift's Part of Fortune in Gemini gives her a golden touch whenever she communicates. Her words are wealth, and her connection with others through language is her true joy. Now let's go back here and see what Google has to say. The Part of Fortune in Gemini signifies that abundance and success are found through curiosity, communication, learning, and variety. This placement indicates that happiness is derived from engaging with diverse information, sharing knowledge, and using wit and adaptability to find opportunity. The key to fulfilling life for a Gemini Part of Fortune is staying intellectually stimulated and open to new experiences and connections. And that is an excellent sum up of what we just touched on. Keeping it fresh, learning from others, communicating, and always keeping that curious mind. I see they have plenty of other information that gets into more detail about it, but now let's go over here and see what one of these other web pages have to say. Okay, let's scroll down here, see what we have. Let's try AstroLibrary, the Part of Fortune in Gemini. Scroll down here and see what it has to say. If you have Part of Fortune in Gemini in your birth chart, you get great joy and satisfaction from communicating and learning from all the things and experiences of life. You're always looking for new knowledge from people you know. You value people more for their ideas than for what they really are. You are stimulated by other people's ideas and you become aware of the different facets of life. You don't always commit to everything because you want to be able to keep things open, but you're also not judgmental. But you can't get carried away with things in front of you. It's not about what's the best or the worst, but seeing both sides. Talks about freedom of movement and being flexible with your life's possibilities. Talks about not being judgmental or authoritarian because you might lose the people you want to talk to. And the power of observation and wisdom without making premature judgments. Scroll down. Looks like they got quite a bit more. It's actually a pretty good little touch on it. I don't want to stay too long. But that is a good touch on the part of Fortune in Gemini. So now let's go on and talk a little bit about Chiron. In her case, she's got Chiron in Cancer. So Chiron is the wounded healer. It shows where you experience your deepest emotional or psychological wounding. Yet it also is where you develop your greatest empathy and healing power and wisdom. So where Chiron's placed, it shows where we feel the most vulnerable or unseen, and is also where we can help others heal, precisely because we've lived that pain for ourselves. In the case of Chiron Cancer, it can be a feeling that I must protect others emotionally because I was once unprotected myself. Cancer is a sign of home, family, nurturing, and emotional security. And when Chiron sits here in Cancer, it creates deep sensitivity to rejection, abandonment, and emotional neglect. A childhood or early experience where a person felt misunderstood, unprotected, or emotionally exposed. And an ongoing quest to create a safe emotional home, first for themselves and later for others. Some of the emotional patterns of this placement is that feeling safest when caring for others, but a struggle to feel cared for in return. They also long for genuine emotional connection, yet fear being hurt if they open up fully. Often over-nurturing others, friends, fans, lovers, as a way to heal their own inner child. And their healing path can be through creating emotional safety rather than searching for it externally. And representing oneself, learning to self-soothe and trust one's own intuition. Empathy through expression by turning one's personal pain into art that heals others. And in Taylor's case, she grew up deeply close to her family, but entered fame very young in a world that scrutinized her feelings. Chiron Cancer feels wounded by emotional exposure without safety, and Taylor's early fame put her private emotions on public display before she had a secure emotional container. Her writing about heartbreak, home, family, and belonging all revealed this Chiron Cancer's vulnerability. She created emotional safety through her art. Her songwriting became her self-therapy, a way to turn emotional exposure into control and healing. Chiron's healing function is always activated through articulation of the wound. For Taylor, every confessional lyric reclaimed her self-narrative. She takes emotional pain and turns it into a safe story. And that's some classic Cancer Chiron alchemy, healing through emotional storytelling. Cancer's also maternal, and as her career has evolved, she's become the kind of emotional caretaker for her fans. Comfort songs for heartbreak, grief, and betrayal, public empathy for marginalized voices, a sense that her music offers a home to those who feel misunderstood. And this is Chiron in Cancer, fully matured. So now let's go over here and see what Cancer and Chiron has to say over here in Google. Cancer and Chiron natal placement signifies deep-seated emotional wounds related to nurturing, home, family, and security, which can be a source of pain, but also a source of great healing and wisdom. This placement suggests a personal struggle with vulnerability and emotional boundaries that, once understood, can be used to help others. The key is to transform the wound into a gift, using sensitivity and compassion to become a powerful healer for others in areas of emotional insecurity and connection. And yes, Cancer Chiron is very sensitive to vulnerability and emotions because of earlier pain that it may have received in life. And it shows how sometimes in the past, some of the things that we go through leave a mark on us, and how we truly want to help others with the situation with emotional security later on. Does go on to talk more about it in detail, but now let's go see what some of the other webpage have to say. Okay, let's see what we have down here. Astro charts, Reddit. Scroll down here. Tiny rituals. Chiron to the signs. Well, it looks like Jessica Davidson here says Chiron and Cancer. Let's look at that because it's more specific to what we're talking about. Let's scroll down here and see what it says. Let's see what Chiron is. Okay, with Chiron and Cancer, the wound is your emotions and ability to feel loved, which may manifest in the following ways. Feeling unloved and abandoned, and can't find the nurturing you need. Fear that you don't deserve the love and that world isn't supportive. Feeling an inner emptiness and loneliness, a sense of something missing. A tendency to sabotage relationships or smother others with too much attention. Rescuing lost souls, those who are unloved and abandoned, may be peaceful and gentle or lie and cheat to get the love they want. And psychosomatic illness. Interesting. These are some interesting little bullet points. Some of these things have cursed her before in the past and been some of her greatest efforts to heal, with some relationship issues and the desire to help lost souls with her music. It goes on to talk about the healing journey, about being the archetypical mother. And in a lot of ways, she's given some wonderful motherly advice to her Swifties, the fans that truly love her. And it does mention how sensitive they are to the suffering of others, and how people find it easy to share their feelings with you because you can nurture them emotionally. And that's a lot of what she does with her music. A lot of her people feel that connection because of pain they felt themselves. Well, this is a good little touch on the actual Cancer in Chiron. But now let's not stay here too long, because we still have one more thing to go over, the Virgo in the Midheaven. Let's talk about this Virgo Midheaven. Now the Midheaven, also called the medium coli, is the highest point in the chart right here. It symbolizes public image, career direction, reputation, and life's calling. It's also how the world sees you at your most visible, what you strive to master professionally, and the legacy you aim to leave. When it comes to Virgo Midheavens, this is a signature of someone who achieves greatness through meticulous craftsmanship, consistency, humility, and a devotion to their craft. This person's reputation is not built on flash and chaos, but control, organization, and a relentless attention to detail. So let's read what it has to say here. Public image and career are built on precision, service, and integrity. Virgo Midheaven individuals are seen as reliable, detail-oriented, and improvement-focused. They excel in roles that require analysis, organization, or healing, leaving the world better than they found it. Yeah, some of the key traits of a Virgo Midheaven is that they're perfectionists, not because they crave approval, but because they can see how things can be done better. Their work ethic is unmatched, and they succeed through refinement and practice rather than luck. They're also analytical artists. Their art is smart, intricate, and layered. They often blend logic and emotion, creating order out of chaos. They're also servant leaders. Virgo's true strength is in service. They uplift others by organizing, helping, and improving. Virgo Midheaven individuals become admired for their work ethic, integrity, and reliability rather than drama and ego. In Taylor Swift's case, her Virgo Midheaven is on full display in her obsessive precision. The The Easter eggs, hidden messages, and coded clues in her lyrics, videos, and album rollout. Her extreme control over branding, design, and fun. Her re-recording project, meticulous recreation of every sonic and emotional detail. Her reputation for professionalism, a Virgo Midheaven, is admired for their work ethic, not just talent. Taylor is known as one of the hardest working artists in modern music. Every tour, album, and project is organized like a business empire, yet executed with artistic grace. Peers and critics often note her professional discipline and CEO level management of her brand. And it takes this kind of dedication to be successful in the industry. You can't just be good at your music, you actually have to have that kind of persistence. Even her visuals reflect Virgo values. Polished, elegant, detail-rich, but never messy. And one of Virgo's highest expressions is service through excellence. She mentors young artists, advocates for fairness in the industry, and gives back philanthropically. Success through helping others find their voice and improving the system. One thing it does have to worry about is this perfectionism can drive you a little bit too hard. She's openly shared her struggles with overworking, body image, and self-criticism. Virgo can overthink things sometimes, so it's important not to get too caught up. So all in all, Taylor Swift's Virgo Midheaven gives her the drive to perfect her craft, control her narrative, and serve others through the precision of her art, turning emotional chaos into elegant order and earning respect as both artist and architect of her own empire. And I guess to sum up her entire chart, Taylor Swift has come into the world to heal emotional wounds through words, to reform old systems through integrity, and to turn the individual story into a shared song of humanity. Taylor Swift's chart describes a soul evolving from the wounded child to the wise architect of emotional truth. A visionary who turns feeling into form, fame into purpose, and heartbreak into healing for millions. But all in all, I think this sums up our CD1 series about Taylor Swift. This sums up the basic birth chart part for Taylor Swift, but it isn't the last video we're going to be doing in the CD series. In the future, we'll talk about other people's chart when we go on to discuss their planets in the basic birth chart series, the C plus D. So stay tuned for those in the future, and thank you for following. We hope you have enjoyed this video from our Astrology Keyring series. If you like the content, please like, follow, and share with your friends. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed journey.